ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णा पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Board. Okay, let's get started. So, I know some people are new here that are joining. So I will quickly recap a couple of things, not too much, and we'll move on to the new things for most of the audience. But basically, we glorified Bhagavad Gita, that how Bhagavad Gita, according to Ved Vyas in Padma Puran, is compared to Ganga Jal. So just like he says, just like we take bath every day we take bath and we cleanse our body. Similarly, we should be bathing in Bhagavad Gita's nectar every day. He says, and then Adi Shankaracharya says, Bhagavad Gita kinchit dhita, Ganga jal eva kanika pita, sakrad aepi yeni murari samarcha, kriyate tasya yamena charcha. Very nice verse. I'll show it to you so it will make better import on you. He says, Bhagavad Gita kinchit dhita. That, so let's read the translation. Let a man read but a little from Bhagavad Gita. Read just a little every day from Bhagavad Gita. Ganga jal eva kanika pita. When you drink Ganga jal, you don't have to drink, gallons of Ganga jal to purify you. You just need a drop, right? Drink just a drop of water from Ganga, just like you need to read just a little from Bhagavad Gita. Sakrat epi yeni murari samarcha. That if you worship Lord Krishna or the Murari, the killer of Mura demon, just once, kriyate tasya yamena charcha, then you will never have to do charcha with Yamraj. For that person, there will no altercation, there will no communication with Yamraj, the Lord of Death. It doesn't mean that death won't come. It means that when death comes, Yamraj won't come, but you will be going to the eternal kingdom of the Lord. So all you have to do is to read a little from Bhagavad Gita. Then later on, Adi Shankaracharya says, regularly recite from Bhagavad Gita. Meditate on Vishnu in your heart and chant his 1,000 glories. Take delight to be with the noble and the holy. Distribute your wealth in charity to the poor and the needy. But he says, Giyam Gita Nam Sahastram. That regularly recite from Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, Ved Vyas also says in a similar mood, he says, I'll show that to you. Ved Vyas says, Maline mochanam pumsa jala snanam dine dine sakrit geetambhasi snanam samsara malinashanam. That just like you drink water of Ganga for salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself. So this is the glorification of Bhagavad Gita. He says, this Gita Upanishad Bhagavad Gita is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking this cow like a calf. And learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. So in this, the Vedas or Upanishads are being compared to a cow. Now we can't milk the cow because the Vedas are so huge that we cannot get the nectar out of the Vedas. We don't know where to start, where to begin. There are more than 5 lakh verses in all the Vedas, all the Upanishads and Puranas. So a cowherd boy is needed to milk that cow. So cow is Vedas. Cowherd boy is Krishna. Krishna is milking that cow and giving us the nectar, the milk, which is Bhagavad Gita. So when you milk this cow, then you get the nectar, and that nectar is Bhagavad Gita. And who can give this nectar? Krishna. And who drinks it? The calf. And who are the calves? We are the calves. Arjun is the calf who's drinking this nectar. So very nice analogy is given by Vedyas. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopal nandana partho vatsa. Parth is vatsa. Parth matlab Arjun is vatsa or calf. Sudhir bhokta dugdam gita mritam mahat. So he is drinking the amrit of Bhagavad Gita from the hands of this cowherd boy Krishna, who is wringing the nectar out of all the Vedas. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is the essence knowledge of all the Vedic scriptures. It's the summary, the conclusion of all the Vedas. We also talked about who should read Bhagavad Gita. There are so many misconceptions in this world. Some people say you should read Bhagavad Gita at an older age. Some say you should read it when you are retired, when you are a renunciate. Only sannyasis should read. You have to be very pure before reading Bhagavad Gita. You cannot be eating meat or drinking alcohol. Your habits have to be very pure. Your lifestyle has to be purified before you read Bhagavad Gita. You have to take a bath before reading Bhagavad Gita. You cannot underline or highlight on Bhagavad Gita. So many misconceptions are there, and we refuted all those misconceptions. That are the only instruction given to us is no matter what time of the day is, whether you have taken a bath or not taken a bath, whatever your habits are, whether you are young, you are old, whether you are a householder or a sannyasi, whether you are living in a house or in forest or in a ashram, wherever you live, whatever you do, whatever your job is, whether you are a man or a woman, doesn't matter. There is no bar to reading Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, Geet means song. So this is Bhagavad Gita, the song that was sung by Bhagwan. Bhagavad ka matlab hota hai bolna. So the song that was sung by Bhagwan himself. That's why whenever Krishna speaks, the verses say Shri Bhagavan Vacha, right? So the Lord is singing this divine song. It's called the Song of the Lord. And like nowadays, whenever there is any problem, any stress, what people do, they listen to a song. So similarly, Arjun was also in a problem. He was very distressed. He was in stress, and he wanted to give up various activities that he was doing that were expected of him. He did not want to fight. He wanted to give up his bow that he was so skilled at using. And he was sweating profusely. His heart was beating very fast, and his body was shaking and trembling. And he put his bow down and he said, I cannot do this. And so he was very much stressed, basically. You can say he was almost depressed. So this song was sung by God to take him out of this depression. जैसे हम लोग गाना गाते हैं ना किसी को खुश करने के लिए, Krishna also sang this song to take him out of this depression, to relieve his distress, and not only that, but to give him eternal knowledge, to remind him of the eternal knowledge. He already knew eternal knowledge, but to remind him so that he can jump back into action and start fighting this war again. And so Bhagavad Gita is not like any mundane Bollywood or Hollywood song. It is that kind of song which is it is divine, it is transcendental, it transcends any material limitations that you set on yourself. So people find many excuses to not read Bhagavad Gita. They will say, we don't have time. We discussed about that also. We don't have time, or it is very difficult to understand, or it is in Sanskrit. How can we understand? Yet, this is the third most common book that is read in the entire world. And it's a shame that it is third. It should be first. Hopefully by all your efforts, we can make it the foremost. But first of all, you have to read it first yourself, right? So many commentaries are given on it, so many motivational speakers, they actually take their content from Bhagavad Gita. All the content of motivational speakers, the leaders, the managers, the big administrative people or businesses or highly successful people of this world, they take all their understanding, all their knowledge, the concepts of living their life from Bhagavad Gita actually. So if you can really understand Bhagavad Gita, you can really apply its principles in your life, then the life will be transformed. So this is like a stress management course that basically Krishna gave to Arjun. And since then, so many commentaries are written on it, so many purports and so many seminars are held on it, workshops are there. But we know that Bhagavad Gita as it is by Prabhupada is the most popular Bhagavad Gita in the whole world. It is, and rightly so, because this is not just sticking to the motivational platform. This is not just sticking to the ethical or moral platform, but it goes into the devotional aspect of our being. It teaches us that we should surrender to the Supreme Lord, that we should be a devotee of the Lord, and then all the good qualities, all the good morals, ethics, all the qualities will automatically come. So the difference between Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and other Bhagavad Gitas is that other Bhagavad Gitas first want to make us a good human, then worry about becoming a good devotee, right? But Prabhupada targets to make us a devotee right from the very first verse, because when you become a devotee of the Lord, when you start developing an attraction to the Lord, then all the good qualities automatically come. So he goes in not in an ascending fashion, but in a descending fashion. The other Bhagavad Gitas are a lot of effort, lot of work. What they're doing is they're teaching you to become pure first of all. You should adopt all the good qualities. You should give up your anger. You should give up your pride, your illusion, your lust, your greed, and all this. And then you are qualified to become a devotee of the Lord. But Prabhupada says, no, forget about that. Start getting attached to Krishna. Even if you're not pure, just read Bhagavad Gita every day. Just ask for his mercy. Just pray to the deities. Just get Bhagavatam in the house. Go in a descending fashion, because mercy flows downwards. Our effort has to go upwards. Now, is it easy to climb a ladder or to go down a ladder? ऊपर चढ़ना आसान है या नीचे उतरना? Always it's easy to go down, right? Because anything that flows down by it's easier for it to go down. So mercy flows downward. So even if you're not pure, you don't have good qualities, but you start praying to the Lord, start eating prasadam, start reading Bhagavad Gita, start associating with devotees. So Prabhupada gave us a process of applying Bhagavad Gita right from the very first verse, which other commentaries and narrations fail a lot of times. They don't give us a tangible process to follow on a daily basis. Since there is no practice on a daily basis, we don't know how to become pure. So it is just, oh, you should become pure. But how to become pure is only told by Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it goes to the highest crux of the matter, that you have to surrender to the Lord. You have to take shelter of the Lord in all situations, and that is the best way to get out of this material world. By your own efforts, you can do so much, but unless you ask for mercy of the Lord, you pray to him intensely, you develop your relationship with him, you figure out your relationship with him, you have a natural attraction and love towards him, it is very difficult to get out of here. The material nature will pull you down no matter what. Yes, Mataji, you want to share something?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, just a question for people who are like not on the path of devotion. And actually, I was asked once, what is the difference between Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and others' Bhagavad Gita, and why one should read only Prabhupada's? So, is like whatever you just told, is it okay to convey to person who are not on the path of devotion?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare
So
Krishna.
everybody is on the path of devotion. I can't say that I am on any more path of devotion than anybody else. So the main thing is that Prabhupada has given us a process which is very simple to adopt. Nobody else gives a process to adopt and to practice in our daily life. So there is no chanting of holy name. How can you purify yourself if you're not associating with the Lord on a daily basis? If you're not reading scriptures a little every day, if you're not chanting Lord's names, if you're not doing deity worship, if you're not, associating with devotees or eating prasadam, right? So Prabhupada has given us a very simple, easy process of devotional service, and we are all struggling. And that's what Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita does. It keeps Krishna in center. It doesn't keep moral, ethical qualities. It doesn't just go to the motivational platform that you can make your life good. Then the point with other Bhagavad Gita is they make you good in this life. They make this life happy, your mind calm, give you peace, give you stability, give you good qualities, things like that. But they are keeping you in center. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is keeping Krishna in center, and we understand that keeping Krishna in center is the goal of our life. Plus, he gives us knowledge from Bhagavatam, from various other Upanishads and all, which many other fail to do, and they just use this book, great book as a motivational book, as a self-help book, right? This is not a self-help book. This is supposed to take you out of this material bondage into the spiritual eternal realm at the feet of the Lord. So Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita takes you to the feet of the Lord. Again, people are mostly concerned with making this life just happy and pleasurable. But once they start reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, they'll see that there is more to Bhagavad Gita than just making this life happy and pleasurable. That's not the goal. If you're just making this life happy and pleasurable, then you'll be stuck in this life. But you have to transcend that. So with Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, you're transcending, you're rising above this particular life and going deep into the matter. Like you're going into even Bhagavatam's principles are given in Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu wants to share something.
Hare Krishna. Very nice points and very nice question. The other thing I would like to add on to what Nārangi Devi just said is that this is coming from the disciplic succession, so that is very important. We need to know who Guru is, and even Bhagavad Gita itself, it is described how to identify a Guru. And it is very important that the knowledge that we are getting is coming from a disciplic succession, coming from either Krishna himself or his disciples. So that is another difference, that this is not an interpretation of a mundane human being being like, I think the Krishna Bhagavad Gita is this and it means this. And this is Bhagavad Gita as it is, which means this is the crux of Bhagavad Gita as has been passed down through the disciplic succession. So this is not a mundane interpretation. This is coming from the disciplic succession, from devotees, from the path that has been going on for ages and ages. And then the other thing also is it is given in such a way, the way if you open, I haven't read all the other Bhagavad Gitas, but I know in some Bhagavad Gitas it is like there's no meaning sometimes associated with it. This gives the synonyms, as you all know already, I know, but just to tell to people that actually open it and see that every Sanskrit word is described, the meaning is given, and then after the meaning, it is also, this is such a beautiful format. Each word from Sanskrit is described, what it means, and then the translation is given. And just even with the translation, if only the translation is given, the problem is that there can be so many interpretations of it if just we try to interpret ourselves or somebody tries to. But then the purport is given for our benefit, so that we, from the scriptures, it is all, if you read, sometimes actually there are so many references that Prabhupada does give, but still whatever he is writing, the more we keep reading, we realize everything he is saying is from the scriptures. He doesn't even quote sometimes because kitna koi reference dega, otherwise the whole thing will just be a reference thing. So that is, I think, important. Hare Krishna. And then the final crux of the matter is that even if after reading Bhagavad Gita nobody understands Krishna as the Supreme Personality, then there is no point of such a Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, that's the main point, I think, Mataji, that with other Bhagavad Gitas, people have read, but they're never able to surrender. They're never able to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But for all the reasons we are going to discuss in this particular PowerPoint, we've talked about this, that we have to change our vision, right? So I feel Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita does change our vision, like from lordship mentality, you become service mentality. From me centered, you become Krishna centered. From body centered, you become Krishna centered, right? So you realize what is your identity. Prabhupada keeps harping over and over that you are the servant of the Lord. You're part and parcel of the Lord, right? So you understand that I'm a servant. I'm a servant of the servant of the servant, right? Das, 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 and das. So the actual meaning that Krishna wanted to convey has been conveyed by Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And again, the proof of the pudding lies in eating. We have seen people transforming. So you can give your own example. You can give example of the people that you know who have transformed by reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And other Bhagavad Gitas have not really actually come across any transformations happen where people have actually adopted that service mentality, that humility, have actually gotten rid of their anarthas, have actually followed a tangible process in their daily life, and finally surrendered to a guru and to Supreme. Finally developed hankering to read scriptures and gotten away from material world. I do not know of many examples. Mostly people from other Bhagavad Gitas become very motivated to do their jobs well and things like that. Like recently, I was watching this movie Oppenheimer, and he became motivated, and he did some, same thing with Einstein. So they do a lot of work. They are able to see Krishna's presence in whatever they are doing, but still, it's on a very motivational platform that they are using Bhagavad Gita to improve their quality of work and their quality of life, but not really surrendering to the Supreme, never understanding that they are the servants and their actual goal is to go back to the Supreme and serve him. So some of those things, but the best thing is to show your example, show how that we have to become Krishna centered, and you have become like that. So this is what we discussed last time, that Bhagavad Gita changes your perspective of how you look at the world. So the world is not going to change by reading Bhagavad Gita. You are going to change. Your perspective of looking at world will change. So this is a wisdom which will elevate you from ordinary people, so that you are looking at the world from an elevation, from an altitude, from a vantage point, right? जैसे कि हमने aeroplane का example लिया था कि अगर आप plane में हो, then everything looks small to you underneath. Whereas if you're standing in the downtown looking at all the buildings, and all the buildings look so huge and towering over you and intimidating. Whereas when you're in the plane, those same buildings look like ants. So so this changes your vision, gives you the spiritual vision, and that's the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. It should change your vision. So even after reading Bhagavad Gita, if your vision doesn't change, that means you did not understand it properly, did not read it properly. The purpose is to change your vision, to make it spiritual, and to examine your life closely to see what am I doing wrong, how am I dealing with my relationships or with my profession or in my various activities, in my various qualities. What am I lacking? What should I do better? So you examine your life more closely and through the lens of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is like a lens, and through this lens you can see things properly that you're otherwise not able to see with the material vision. It gives you your identity. We discussed that Bhagavad Gita tells you that you are the soul, you are the part and parcel of Krishna, you are the servant of Krishna. And so everybody is a soul, and there is this spiritual spark inside them, which is the consciousness, which is Satchit Anand. And we are trapped in this body, which is made of the five material elements. So we are not made of those five material elements, only the body is, and we have acquired this body as a result of our previous karmas, previous actions, right? So the analogy comes of a driver sitting in the car. The driver is the soul and car is the body. The car is not as important as the driver inside. So it's the driver that we should cater to more, the soul that we should cater to more. So right now the problem is that we are just catering to our body completely. So that's why when I keep saying that people are using this just for motivation, just for instructions, just to acquire good qualities and things, those things are okay, but they are not really nurturing the soul. Those things are just limited to the body only, to the quality, to the on the bodily platform. Yes, you will do your actions better, you will treat your job and other things better, but they are not helping you surrender to the Supreme. So you have to cater to the body and soul both. And Bhagavad Gita caters to both, but Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita caters to soul or the devotional aspect more than just the body. That is the main difference. So other Bhagavad Gitas tend to remain still, despite this being transcendental knowledge, they stay more on the bodily platform. So Bhagavad Gita जैसे महान ग्रंथ को भी लोग अपनी bodily identification strong करने के लिए use करते रहते हैं. So when they read any other commentaries, whereas when you read Prabhupada, there is no, you cannot miss the point. So एक कॉन्सेप्ट आता है मिसिंग द पॉइंट, कितना कुछ पढ़ लिया, जैसे बोलते हैं ना सारी रामायण सुन ली और फिर बोला कि सीता किसका बाप है, राइट? तो ऐसे लोग भगवत गीता पढ़ लेते हैं सारी, लेकिन they have missed the point if they don't understand that Krishna is the supreme personality and we are his servants and we have to serve him. So you've missed the point. So you've catered to your body, you've become better situated in your mind and calm and focused and happy and peaceful and not getting angry, not getting irritated, not picking fights, things like that, whatever. But those things are still on the bodily platform. Yes, it's helpful. At least it makes you a better human, but it doesn't make you a devotee. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, those commentaries he has, those narrations, those make you a devotee. So he makes you a devotee right from the start. And by becoming a devotee, Bhagavatam tells you, you automatically become a good human. So it doesn't go the other way. Everybody is going the other way. पहले हम अच्छे इंसान बनेंगे, फिर हम वो devotee बनेंगे. लेकिन अगर आप devotee पहले से ही बन जाओगे, तो आप अच्छे इंसान automatically बन जाओगे. It goes the other way. Anybody has any questions before we go forward? Rekha Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Sunita Bua, you want to ask something? Raghu Prabhu?
Yes, Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you to you, Dr. Natasha and Dr. Nirbhay and the Jackson ISKCON group. I have two questions. One is a general question and second is a specific question. My general question is, I am a beginner into the study of Bhagavad Gita. I'm in a very beginning stage and I want to know how I can integrate Bhagavad Gita as a beginner into my daily life. And my specific question is basically the explanation of chapter 12, slokas 10, 11, and 12.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very, very wonderful questions. Prabhuji, we are also just students of Bhagavad Gita and we are learning, and Bhagavad Gita is ever fresh, ever new. So it keeps revealing more and more every time you read. So your understanding goes deeper and deeper. It's like a bottomless ocean and you keep coming up with more and more jewels, more and more, pearls come out. So Prabhuji, first question, how to integrate Bhagavad Gita? First of all, I would say the process that I was told and I'm trying to follow. Start reading Bhagavad Gita if you have not already. And I recommend reading Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees. Read Bhagavad Gita as it is because Prabhupada makes it very simple, easy to understand. Do something on a daily basis. So I would say read maybe 1 to 2 verses every day. If you read 2 verses every day, there are 700 verses. You would be done in 6 months, right? 365 days a year, and you'll be done in 6 months, even with breaks. So 2 verses, which means understanding them, write, highlight. If you have some realizations and questions, write in the margins in Bhagavad Gita. what your questions are. And if purport is not answering those for you, ask them from devotees, just like you did just now. But reading in association of devotees, or if you're not able to associate with devotees regularly, then at least hearing lectures on Bhagavad Gita, which I can share with you. They go verse by verse. So either they cover a verse every day, or they cover a few verses in a lecture, and you can just hear the part that you need to hear, then resume the next day. So you can read your own, then you can, this is what I do. I read my own, I make my own understandings, realizations. Then I hear the lectures. I hear 2 or 3 different devotees lectures that I hold in high esteem, that are very, very advanced spiritualists. I hear their lectures, and I corroborate with my realizations, my understandings, and see if it makes sense to me or not. And if I still have some questions, I'll discuss with devotees. Like, I have access to, of course, Nirbhay Prabhu at home, and I'll discuss with other senior devotees. So please do that. That's as far as Bhagavad Gita, reading, understanding it, okay, hearing lectures, reading in association with devotees, and daily giving some time, or if not daily, like on a weekly basis, a certain amount of time. Secondly, do follow a process that we follow. It's called ABCD. ABCD is A is association of devotees. So regularly associate with devotees, because by associating, like right now we are associating, it gives you an impetus to do what they are doing. Basically, whatever we associate with, those are the things we do. So if we associate with somebody who likes to watch movies, then he would be talking about movies or cricket, right? If I talk to a person who's very, very ambitious and talking about his business projects and things like that all the time, who is somebody who's into real estate, then I'll learn those things from them. So associating with devotees gives you a hankering for spiritual realizations, understandings. You want to read more, you want to become like that, like them, right? Because they are humble, they are modest, they have good qualities, and you want to imbibe those qualities. So all good qualities also come. Plus you get their mercy. Most important factor in all of this is mercy. Without mercy, nobody can understand, nobody can do anything, right? So association gives you that mercy. So A is association of devotees. B is books, which we talked about. Read something a little bit every day or on a weekly basis. C is chanting. So we chant the holy names. I know you're following a sampradaya. So those names that are given to you, please follow, please chant those names. We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But the mantra that is given to you by your guru, you can chant that, and that will also give you mercy and give you hankering to read more, to do more, to serve more. That is C, chanting of the holy names. So that is connecting with the Lord directly, because Lord has invested all his powers and potencies in his names. D is diet. This is very big thing that has made a big change for us. Diet means eating prasadam as much as you can. So prasad means offering bhoga to the Lord before we accept it. So this shows our surrender, that we, whatever we cook, we are not cooking for our own enjoyment or our own gratification. We are cooking for Lord's pleasure, and then we are accepting it if he allows, if he permits. So he puts his mercy in the food when we eat it. So then we develop hankering to read and to do more things. So all these things, A, B, C, D, and E, there is E also. E means entering the dham or entering the temples, meaning as much temples or dhams we can visit, or programs, like we do programs because we don't have any temples or dham nearby. So we do programs to recreate the effect of the temples or the dhams locally. So entering the dham means to go there. And this is what we do, Prabhuji, on a daily basis. This is a process, and it's a very tangible process. You will see the results. Like in medicine, it is said that we should practice evidence-based medicine. So I'm very attuned to practicing only things that have proof, that have evidence. And this has evidence because when we applied it in our life, when we did A, B, C, D, E, we saw the results. And when you see the results, it's like when you exercise and you lose weight, then you want to do more, you want to follow the diet more, you want to exercise more. Similarly, when you will see the the realizations are coming. I'm developing a relationship with Krishna. I'm seeing his plans everywhere. I'm seeing his hand in my activities. I'm seeing how his hand is acting in my life. His arrangements are working for me. How I'm developing more and more interest in Bhagavad Gita and other activities. How my chanting is becoming better. When you have those realizations, then the same activities, the same ABCD will become even more intense. And that is the path to grow. It's like a circle. So even though we may start doing these things just with not too much faith, not too much interest, and just superficially, externally. That's why some people say, what's the point of chanting? I can't focus on it. But no, it's okay. It's the focus may not come yet. But by chanting, you're showing to the Lord that I want to chant, that I want your mercy. I'm just not able to because I don't have control over my mind. So my mind is going everywhere. But you can do anything. So with your mercy, I'll be able to chant. But at least chant so he knows that you are making an effort. At least try to eat prasadam so he knows you're making an effort. So by ABCDE, we are making an effort so we attract his mercy. And when we attract his mercy, the Bhagavad Gita also starts getting absorbed. The knowledge will become absorbed much better. The realizations will come, and you will not know. This is a very gradual process, and you will suddenly be able to grasp all the concepts and principles of Bhagavad Gita seamlessly without any difficulty at all. So that's my understanding, Prabhuji. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna. Any other very nice questions? The next question you asked, Prabhuji, 12.10 to 12. We have discussed this before. Those are very nice verses. Thank you for bringing this up. If it's okay, we will discuss them in a later class so that I can read and hear, and you also read and hear about them. But chapter 12 is very, very dear to me, very, very dear to most devotees, because this is a chapter of devotional service. And 10 to 12 verses, those are the crux of the matter. This same thing that we actually talked about, Krishna is talking about in those verses. So we will discuss them. Let's see a little bit more of this. So I'll come back. I'll go forward because we have done this and I don't want to run out of time. So this is where we were, I think. Everybody says, so we were changing our vision, right? World tells us something, but Krishna tells us something else. Like, for example, world tells us that happiness is in external things. Happiness is in buying something or eating something, watching something. But actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those type of happiness is very inferior in quality. It is meant for people of low intelligence, and it does not last. It actually causes more bondage. So the deeper happiness can be with attachment to the Lord, with services, with serving people in humility. And this type of happiness is very deep. It brings you more contentment and bliss that is of a very different quality. It is a different league altogether. So Krishna keeps changing the paradigms of this world. The paradigm of this world is that you can either be a spiritualist or a materialist. You cannot be both. But Krishna says, no, you can be both. In fact, you should be both. You should not just be a husband. You should be a spiritual husband. You should not just be a warrior. You should be a spiritual warrior. You should not just be a king. You should be a spiritual king. So, for example, our politicians, our prime minister, president, and all, right? If they were spiritual, if they were representatives of the Lord, if they were devotees, what will happen? They will be able to serve the country much better if they were spiritual leaders and spiritual politicians, just like kings in old age used to be. Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj were spiritual kings. So don't just be a spiritualist or materialist, rather be both together, meaning do your work in this world, but also be connected to me and do this work for my pleasure. And then you will be a spiritual professional, spiritual doctor, a spiritual teacher, or a spiritual lawyer. Be like that, a spiritual parent, not just be a parent, not just be a lawyer, because then you will only be helping people on the bodily level, not on the deeper level. But if you want to really, really help them on a deep platform, then you should be a spiritual anything in this world. World tells us that, we should ask God for things, but Krishna says, no, you should give me whatever you have, and I will give you what you need, not what you want. So don't ask God for things. Don't ask God for things that you need, because you don't know what you need. The things that you need, that you think you need, are useless. Those things are on a bodily level. You don't know the past, present, future like Krishna does. He knows your past, present, and future. So when he gives you something, it will not just be what you want, but actually what is good for you, what is needed by you. Like a parent will not just give his child, okay, take these cigarettes and smoke. No, child may want cigarettes, but parent will not give it to them because he knows those are not good for him, right? He will not give out all the candy to the child because the candy is not good. So he'll give him only what he needs, just maybe, okay, take one candy, but not so much. So like that, Krishna will give us whatever we need, whatever is good for us, whatever will help us in our growth. But for that, we should give God. We should not keep asking from him. And how do you give God? You can offer your food to the Lord. You can offer your prayers to the Lord. You can offer your pranams or dandvats to the Lord. You can sing an arti in front of the Lord. If you have a lamp, you can offer to the Lord. If you have, he has given you so much light, you can't offer a small flicker of lamp in front of the Lord. You can offer incense to the Lord in form of fragrance. You can offer a flower to the Lord. So he says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, right? You can offer any small thing that you have. He changes our definition of competition in this world, right? Competition, that we should not compete with anybody in this world. We should just compare with ourselves and just improve ourselves. We should not try to perform other people's duties or other people's purpose. Everybody has their own purpose, Krishna says. But we have a unique identity and we should fulfill our own purpose, and that will take us a long way rather than trying to fit in other person's shoes, which will be difficult. So let's go to a new point this point I think we talked about. People say that spirituality is hard. It's a difficult path to follow, right? Because there is so much discipline, so much regulations that we need, wake up early, things like that. But then Krishna says that actually spiritual path is very joyful. It is very fulfilling. It is very, it gives you a very deep contentment. So it is very easy to perform. He says it is very easy to perform. In fact, the things that we do in this material world, look at this man, the things that we do, taking care of your house, your family, your job, people in the society, you have so many responsibilities, so many things going on, social media, car and people, extended family, so many things going on. Something breaks down, something comes apart, something needs to be fixed. All the time, some problems, difficulties, disturbances going on in this world. So that is hard, or just taking shelter of the Krishna and he lifts the mountain for you and you just stand under it, is that hard? No, that's easy. So you have to follow a little bit of discipline, yes, but discipline, may taste bitter in the beginning, but in the end, it gives you joy. So it may be hard to form these habits in the beginning, but if you are consistent, again, by attracting mercy of the Lord, he gives you the power, empowerment, the knowledge to wake up early, to, just like Prabhuji asked, so many things we are able to do just because we have made an effort to do them. So not that we are good at doing them, but we've just shown an effort, and then Krishna comes rest of the way. So if we just prioritize Krishna in our life, if we just invest some time, give some time to Krishna, those are the important things. Give time to important things, then you can actually be more relaxed and joyful, and Krishna takes care of so many burdens of ours. So this is very important to understand. We think that we are joyful in this material world, but actually there are a lot of disturbances in this material world. And path of spirituality may entail a little bit of regulation and discipline in the beginning, but with that little effort, and there is so much joy throughout. The whole process is joyful, and then the end is joyful. Let me cover one more point, then we'll take some more questions. Material world tells us that we should fulfill all our desires, right? कर लो दुनिया मुट्ठी में, जी लो जिंदगी, right? बहुत सारी desires हैं, बहुत सारी इच्छाएं हैं, सब पूरी कर लो. Again, Krishna tells us that's not so smart actually. You don't need to fulfill all the desires, because desires come from mind, from your bodily platform, from your experiences in this world. And the world is constantly telling you this is good, that is good. There's so many advertisements on the TV, ye bhi le lo, wo bhi le lo. But you can't do that. You can't keep buying everything. You can't getting swayed, distracted by so many desires that come to the mind. So if you want really peace and contentment, then you need to know which are the good desires and which are the ones that you need to ignore. So ignore certain desires. Like this, Oscar Wilde said, true contentment is not having everything, but in being satisfied with everything you have. So if we don't need too many things, then that's actually very a content situation. It is also said that rich man is not somebody who has a lot of things. Rich man is somebody who does not need a lot of things. So someone who does not need a lot of things is actually the rich man, not the one who has a lot of things. So this Mirza Ghalib's शायरी, हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले. बहुत निकले मेरे अरमान, लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले, क्योंकि इतने अरमान हैं कि वो कम ही रहेंगे. मतलब अरमान या डिजायर्स या ख्वाहिशों की there is no limit. They will keep growing because our mind is very finicky. It is very flickering. It wants different things. So then in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in verse 2.70, he says, Apuryamanam machalam pratishtha samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti nakamakami. He says ki in the ocean so many rivers enter, right? But the ocean is not disturbed by so many rivers entering. So similarly, the stable person, Dhir Purush or sober person, is not distracted by so many desires entering into his mind. So he says, Samudram Apa, just like in Samudra, so many rivers enter. Tadvat Kama, Kam means lust. So many lusts or so many desires to enjoy this world enter into our mind. Tadvat Kama Yam Pravishanti Sarve. But whoever knows how to control or restrict these desires, सा शांतिम आपनोति न काम कामी. जो कामी व्यक्ति है, जो इन सभी डिजायर्स को फुलफिल करने में लगा हुआ है, he will not be able to achieve contentment or peace, rather somebody who is able to control them. So this Buddhist monk, this master, Zen master, is saying, the things you desire offer no more satisfaction than drinking seawater. Therefore, practice contentment. You all know this, that if you are in the sea and you're very thirsty, you cannot drink seawater because seawater is full of salt. It will actually harm you. I was telling this concept to Navya one day, and she was very bewildered by this. That there used to be a poem. I think it was Albatross. Probably Nirbe Prabhu knows. Albatross. He said in that poem, it is said, water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. So there is so much seawater around us, and this seawater is very, very salty. But you are still on the boat, stranded, and you are very thirsty. But you cannot drink that seawater, because if you drank that seawater, you will die, right? So I had to explain to her scientifically why you would die if you drank that seawater, because it will dehydrate you even more. Actually, it is so concentrated. It has so much sodium chloride in it. But it will not hydrate you, right? So similarly, the desires of this world will not really fulfill you. They will not give you the satisfaction. No matter how much you fulfill them, they will give you more hankering. Even in second chapter, somewhere else also Krishna says that when we fulfill those desires, then greed develops. And if we are not able to fulfill them, then frustration and anger develops. तो अगर इच्छा पूरी हो गई तो और चाहिए. जिसके पास 100 है उसको 1000 चाहिए, जिसके पास 1000 है उसको लाख चाहिए, जिसके पास लाख है उसको करोड़ चाहिए. तो और चाहिए, greed develops. और अगर पूरी नहीं हुई तो frustration and anger develops, krodh develops. So he says, Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshopajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodho vijayate. So he says, by attaching ourselves to this material world, by absorbing in this material world, a lot of desires happen. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. Vishayan matlab by absorbing ourselves in sense objects. ध्याय तो नहीं करना चाहिए. इसलिए one of my teachers says this, one of my Shiksha Guru says कि ध्यायतो पे रोक दो चीजों को. So when your mind starts to contemplate on things, oh ये कार बहुत अच्छी है, so that means your mind is contemplating on that object, on that sense object. Stop it right there, because this contemplation is the problem. Because once you start dhyayato, then it's a chain reaction. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangas. Sangas matlab then you will get attached to that thing. Sangas teshu bhujayate, sangat sanjayate kama. With attachment comes lust. Then you would have a very strong lust to want it. और जब वो lust पूरी नहीं होगी तो फिर क्रोध आएगा. क्रोधो विजायते. So like that. So it's a chain reaction. So Krishna gives so many beautiful, beautiful concepts, principles are given in Bhagavad Gita. I think Anita Mataji is sharing something or asking something. Yes, Mataji, please share. Then we'll make.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I was just trying to highlight that point that you mentioned, spiritual. When you become spiritual, basically Krishna is teaching to have both, like spiritual knowledge as well as the material world knowledge. But the general misconception or myth that I have observed in my own experience is that people think that once you become spiritual, you just become like a sannyasi. You just don't care about your own home, children, or whatever material wealth you have. And that's the one myth that many people like think about it, and then just they don't even want to try to be on the spiritual path. So
Mataji,
again,
this is the slide that's answering this question. Yeah, that's a very nice concept. So I have put it in this slide. So you're saying that people think that you can become very aloof or disconnected from your children, from your job, you lose interest in things like that, right?
right.
So Mataji, this is the answer to that. So the answer is that actually when you are spiritually aware and advanced, then not only you become more conscious, you become more connected, but you become connected on a very deeper platform with other people. You become you can do your duties, you can handle your children, your professional responsibilities, your home, your other things in a much better way than a materialistic people who's just on a bodily platform will do. So yes, they have to disconnect. The spiritual people have to disconnect for some time, right? Because they have to chant the names, they have to read the scriptures. But by disconnecting for a few minutes every day, for half an hour, 20 minutes every day, whatever time you've allotted for yourself, 2 hours, whatever, then the rest of the day you can have a deeper human connection. See, this deeper human connection, you have a better awareness of life. So you awake yourself to the awareness of life. So you are recharging. This is like a recharging time. When you are spiritually performing your spiritual practices, you are recharging yourself. You're plugging yourself into the source of all power, all knowledge, all illumination, right? All consciousness. And then you, when you go out into the world, you can connect with the world better actually. So people, so I'm not talking about immature. There are immature spiritualists who are just maybe making a show of spiritual practices, and they may be making a very big show that, oh, we are very aloof and things like that. Those are immature people. But actually the mature devotees that have understood the concepts of Bhagavad Gita, they will, their relationships will improve, you know, everything, because they're able to connect to people and things much better. So their tendency to serve improves, right? Whenever, okay, think about this. In one relationship you are serving somebody, or in another relationship, materialistic person exploiting somebody, which relationship will go better? Where you are serving, where you're keeping other person in center, you're thinking of their needs, versus you're exploiting somebody, which will lead to more expectations, more quarrels and conflicts, right? So people that are spiritually advanced and mature, you know, they make this called way of life. So that's why those ABCDE becomes your way of life, where you disconnect. That is Sanatan Dharma. You disconnect for some time, so that when you perform your duties in this world, you will be able to do them much better. Just look at this example, this picture. Whenever Joe Archer hai, he shoots the arrow, he has to pull the thing back, right? He has to pull the bow back, right? Now this seems very contradictory. Why should we have to pull it back when we want the arrow to go forward? We should push it forward. हर चीज को आगे push करो ना, पीछे क्यों pull कर रहे हो? But pulling back is basically disconnecting. Pulling back is giving it the momentum. So when you are disconnecting from this world for that 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever your practices are, then you are gaining the momentum so that the arrow will go faster and you will be more focused and it is more likely to hit the target, right? The arrow will hit the target, it will go with better speed, right? Is that agreeable or not? So in this way, so to throw anything also, you have to fling your hand back. Then only it will go forward. So you have to unplug. That's why you have to sleep, right? The body has to sleep. Nobody can just keep consuming. अगर कोई सोचे कि गुलाब जामुन खाते रहना बहुत अच्छा है तो मैं बस खाते ही रहूं. लेकिन do you have to take rest from eating or no? Do you have to let it digest or no? So similarly, when you pull back, when you spend some time in presence of the Lord, you are basically disconnecting from the world, but you are letting everything just settle down, just digest, just elevating your consciousness, just becoming mature, becoming spiritually advanced, so that when you go out into the world, you can deal with things better. So in this way, it is said, just unsubscribe, just press mute button, right? That's why people take holidays from work. Why do people take vacation? Why don't we just keep working? Why? Because we have to unplug. And spiritualist knows that the best way to unplug from this world and to contribute to the world in the best way is to just connect to the Lord, not just random vacations here and there, but a daily vacation, every day a vacation for some time, where we are just connecting with the Lord, and He will then empower us to perform everything with focus, with speed, with efficiency. So actually, the spiritualists are much, much better, more intelligent, smarter, actually wealthier, actually more materially advanced people than the materialists themselves, because they know how to deal with people. They know, they have all the sutras, they're equipped with the instruments, with the weapons. इसमें ना एक एनालॉजी आती है माता जी, I'll tell you, you will appreciate this. जैसे कि कहीं जाने में देर हो रही है, राइट? और हमारी कार में फ्यूल सिर्फ 10 माइल का है, and I have to go 50 miles now, but I'm getting late. So I start driving, right? I'm just driving full speed, no matter what the fuel is. Now what will happen? After some time, the fuel will run out. So the other person will ask me, how come you did not fuel it before you started? Or why didn't you take a break to fuel it? No, because I was in such a rush. I was in such a hurry. I had to get places. I had to go do things. I couldn't waste time in fueling. Now, is that smart? You did not spend any time fueling the car. Now you're wasting more time or no? So this is how people get burnt out, people get stressed, people get anxious and exacerbated by all their relationships in this world, right? People, the relationships break, things break, because you never really fueled it with the things that matter. So the only thing that mattered was you had to put fuel in the car at every certain miles, which you did not do, right? Yeah, जैसे किसी को बहुत भूख लगी है, I'm very hungry, right? Very hungry, I have to have food right now. Now somebody puts a pizza in front of me, a frozen pizza. Now it's a frozen pizza. Do you need time to cook it or not? Can I just say, no, I have no time, so I have to eat it like this? But do you need time to let it cook or not? So will the frozen pizza help me? Or will it make me more diseased? Will it slow me down more? It will slow me down more. It will make me diseased, things like that. So you have to spend some time. There are certain things that are so important that you have to make time for them. So this eating pizza, cooking it is so important that I have to put it in the oven to cook it. I cannot eat it like this. So some things are so important that you have to make time to do them. So इसीलिए reading Bhagavad Gita, spiritual practices are, because we are spirit soul. So spiritual practices are part and parcel. They should be part and parcel of our life. Otherwise, we are running on an empty gas tank. Otherwise, we are eating the frozen pizza of life. So if you want full flavor, if you want to enjoy it and to get some nourishment, then you have to cook it. So you have to spend some time cooking it. So people that are saying that cooking it is a waste of time, then that's very foolish. So those are some of my thoughts on that matter. Did that answer?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, perfectly. Very nice answer.
Thank you. Okay, I just have, I think, a couple more points to make, then we'll finish. So one of the misconceptions people have is about death. That death is the end of everything, and it is a horrible situation, it's a fearful situation, and and everybody fears death, right? We know that everybody fears death, we lament when somebody dies. But Krishna actually says that there is life beyond death, and not only life, that's when your real life will start. That's when your eternal life will start, provided you have lived this life properly. So if you have lived this life properly, then your eternal, endless life will start. And you will be able to come to my supreme abode. So many things he says about his supreme abode. They're scattered throughout Bhagavad Gita. Na tadbhasate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So he says that supreme abode of mine is so beautiful that it is illumined by my effulgence only. You don't need any electricity, you don't need any fire, you don't need any luminaries like sun and moon there, because it is so beautiful. It is so, in spiritual world, every step is a dance, every word is a song. It's that beautiful, it's so beautiful that there is no envy there is no anger there is no greed and lust and those things there. It's just Lord in the center and everybody serving the Lord. So our story does not have to end in a fearful, horrific death. Our story can end in a way that we want it to end. And if we all have free will, Krishna has given us free will. So if we want our story to end in a beautiful eternal life with the Lord, then we should start living this life properly so that we can reach that endless eternal life, right? So death is not final. Death is not the end of it all. Death is where our spiritual life, our eternal life actually starts, but only for those who spend some time, to contribute some time during this life. So that is another misconception. One more misconception is that the world is a very happy place. Everything is very comfortable here. Or if it is not, then I can make things very comfortable by various means. अच्छा घर लेकर या अच्छी कार से या बहुत सारे wealthy relatives हों, wealthy friends हों, अच्छे से insurances हों मेरे पास या बहुत सारे lawyers कर लो, then everything is good. Nobody can harm me. I'll be very, or I can hire some bodyguards. Celebrities will hire bodyguards. So the life can be made very comfortable by various means. But actually Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says that this is dukhalyam. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalyam ashashvatam naknuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. That this world is actually a dukhalyam. This is a place of misery. This is a house of sorrows. And so it is fearful, it is anxiety prone. And there will always be dangers at every step. There will always be disturbances. Like there is this t-shirt that says, don't disturb. Front mein likha tha, don't disturb. Aur piche likha tha, I'm already disturbed. So because there are so much disturbances. And it is said that in every person's life, there will be some life quakes or some crisis. So that crisis can be in various forms, some quakes or crises. Jise earthquake aata hai na, sari dharti hil jati hai. Aise life quake hota hai, such type of disturbance that it will shake your entire existence. It is such a hard crisis to handle that it will shake you up completely. So that is a very, very pivotal time. In that time, some people will take very fierce shelter of the Lord. They will become completely surrendered. Or some people will become completely faithless and go completely away from Krishna. So we have a choice. We always have a choice. We always have free will. Krishna is not like a master who determines every action of ours. He gives us free will. So in this way, there will be quakes or crises in everybody's life. Everyone will get some reactions to their previous karmas, right? But all you have to do is to tolerate and to ask for mercy, ask for forgiveness, and pray very hard. Take more fierce shelter of the Lord. So this is the paradigm shift that this world tells us we can be comfortable with various things, but Krishna says actually this place you can never be comfortable because this is not your natural home. It's like a fish out of water can never be comfortable. So if it is on the sand, it cannot be comfortable at all. She can try various things, but she'll only be comfortable if she's put back in the water. This is the reality of the world that you have to understand. Then, let's see. So this is actually, I think we can stop here. There are many points in that can be made, but I really like this saying of Jonathan Swift. He said, may you live all the days of your life. So this is very consistent with Anita Mataji's question. She said, it sounds like in this world when people take to spirituality that they have stopped living this life, but actually you live your life even better. It says, may you live all the days of your life. Other people are just wasting away their life. But when you become very much tuned in, you are operating on a different wavelength altogether. So you can hear, see, touch, feel things that normal, ordinary people cannot when you become a spiritualist. जैसे dog होता है ना, कुत्ते को ऐसी आवाज भी सुनाई देती है जो हमें humans को सुनाई नहीं देती, because their ears are operating at a different wavelength, right? So similarly to devotees, devotees are nothing but dogs of Krishna, right? That's why we have the patta in our neck. This is Kanthimala, Tulsimala. So we are the servants of his pet dogs. So you can hear Krishna's flute. You can hear Krishna's arrangements in your life. You can see Krishna's hand in your life. You can see how Krishna is reciprocating with you. You don't have to have your senses to see Krishna. You don't need your eyes and ears. You're operating on a very different wavelength. You're tuned into Krishna. जैसे स्टेशन है, रेडियो स्टेशन में अलग अलग चैनल में ट्यून इन करना पड़ता है ना. अगर कोई ट्यून इन ही नहीं करे तो साउंड आएगी नहीं. So devotees have decided to plug in and tune in to what Krishna is saying. So Bhagavad Gita basically is hear properly what Krishna is saying, then apply it in your life, and you will see how he's reciprocating with you. He's reciprocating with you at every turn, actually. Every single day, every moment, every turn, he's there. He's absolute. He can reciprocate with infinite souls at the same time in different infinite moods possible. So whichever mood you want Krishna to reciprocate with, he'll reciprocate in that mood. But the problem is that we don't make any effort. We don't want to do anything. हम लोगों को बैठे बैठाए ही बस सब कुछ करना है. But even in this material world, you have to make effort to do something, to do things, right? You have to go to medical school to become a doctor. You have to go to law school to become a lawyer. And we are ready to do all those things. हम लोग मेडिकल स्कूल में जाने से पहले इतनी रिसर्च नहीं करते जितना हम स्पिरिचुअल पैथ को फॉलो करने से पहले रिसर्च करते हैं. दुनिया की हजारों किताबें घर में होंगी, लेकिन भागवतम या ये बुक्स लेने से पहले रिसर्च करते हैं. So many things, that we are before joining a temple, before surrendering to the Lord, we have to research so much. We have to find out so many things. But we don't even want our child to waste the year in school. कि कहीं second से third grade में पीछे ना रह जाए. इसके लिए फटाफट से एडमिशन कराओ. And so many useless materialistic things people do in this world. बच्चे की date of birth तक change कर देते हैं so that he can get admission in a particular class and stuff like that. So such nonsense people are doing. But when it comes to surrendering to the Lord, accepting Bhagavad Gita in their life, or reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or inviting Lord in their homes, it's just a very pitiful situation that we are not open. We are not open-minded at all. He's ready to reciprocate, but we have to make an effort. So that's all I have to share. Thank you for listening. Let's take some questions for 5 minutes. See who would ask. Rekha Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Yogi Prabhu, Anita Mataji, please share any reflections or questions.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I just had a couple of realizations that I thought I wanted to share. One was when Anita Mataji asked that question, I actually wanted to share our what happened with us at the time of marriage. A couple of people were actually scared that ये वही ISKCON वाले से शादी कर रही है. So Nārangi Devi's household, a couple of people who mentioned to me that कि भाई ये ISKCON वगैरह का क्या है? कि I heard कि you go to ISKCON. Is it okay? कोई plan वैन तो नहीं है कि भाई छोड़ के you'll become a sannyasi or whatever.
I was saying डाकू से शादी करी होती तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती. टेररिस्ट हो तो चलेगा, लेकिन डिवोटी हो तो प्रॉब्लम होती लोगों को.
Sorry, go repeat that, please. It's my car
I
I
was
couldn't hear that. What did you
I
say?
was saying, if you are a fraud, or if you are a daku, or if you are a terrorist, or if you are a criminal, तब चलता, लेकिन devotee हो तो लोगों को problem होती है.
राइट, लोगों को इससे एडिक्शन, कोई ऐसे कोई अल्कोहल ले रहा है, कोई कुछ है, उससे दिल भी हाँ हाँ ठीक है, सब करते हैं, व्हाट इज द बिग डील. लेकिन ये इस्कॉन वालों से बच के रहो. ये
भगवद गीता में दिखाते हैं.
so that is
Hare
one thing that
Krishna.
is coming to your mind.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
हरे कृष्णा.
yes, Mama.
ये इसलिए डरते हैं इस्कॉन वालों से कि उनको लगता है कि ये घर बार छोड़ के ना चले जाएं. They may not leave our daughter. She may or may not accept the path. Never know. That time will tell how the life goes. So that's why they try to ask these questions. About terrorists, they don't know. Is a terrorist what he is going to do and not do. This is the reason.
तो घर पर
Right.
चले जाए तो चले जाते हैं. I think somebody asked this question when we had this discussions, and we talked about this. Of course, once you are committed to being a grihastha, you should have those. You should be committed and be a, like you said, spiritual husband. But we do need brahmacharis, we do need sannyasis, और घर बार छोड़ के चले जाना is not a very, I mean, लड़कियां तो सभी 100% ही घर बार छोड़ के जाती हैं. Even now the boys also leave, so I don't know what it means by that. Everybody has to leave their home and go and make their own place in the world. Soldiers leave their house and serve at the borders. People that are born in India will go to USA to work, or people that are born in North will go to South to work. And so they're also all leaving their homes for a purpose. But their purposes are all very material and bodily oriented. But since 99.999% people are in bodily orientation, they are okay with those bodily pursuits. So it's okay if somebody leaves house because they're getting married, if somebody leaves house because they're serving on the border, if somebody leaves house because they got a job in Antarctica, then it's fine. If you got a very lucrative job in Africa, in the forest of Africa, then it's fine. So all those things are typically fine. But spiritual path, since people don't understand because we have bodily identification, it is hard to accept. So I think that's the problem. That's the first myth we have to break, that we are this body. So the first thing is to know our identity. Without knowing our identity, nothing can happen. So unless we understand that we are the soul, we are not this body, that's where our downfall lies. And it's a faith. It's a faith that you have to constantly remind yourself of every day. Just like you eat every day, just like you sleep every day, just like you nourish your body every day, so you have to nourish your soul every day. You have to remind that I am the soul, I'm not this body. You have to nourish your spiritual practices every day, and get that spiritual recharge every day, so that nobody can distract you and take you towards bodily or material pursuits and tell you that those are higher. But okay, anybody else wants to share? Priyanka Mataji, we haven't heard from you today, or Rekha Mataji. Please, both of you share something or ask any questions.
Just listening to Mataji, everything you said, like, very good, very, very nicely you've put forward all these thoughts. So just trying to listen and absorb them. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Rekha Mataji, you want to answer, say something?
Mataji, I'm driving, but I really, really enjoyed whatever you said. I do have some questions, but I'll try to connect you first on them.
Okay, sure.
Yes, later.
Yes, sure. So, okay, then we will close, I think. But in the end, basically the summary is that Bhagavad Gita is not it acts on various levels of our body, soul. It feeds everything, of various aspects of our being, of our existence. It is not a religious book. It is wholesome book that tells you how to live your life properly, make the best decisions, not commit common mistakes, have the best relationships, avoid stress and anxiety, control your mind, avoid burnouts, overcome stress. What is success? It tells you how to avoid competition, and or what is the good competition to have, what is happiness, how to speak, what to eat, how to act with your body, what are different types of people in this world and how are they acting. So many things it tells you. So this is not a religious book. The word Hindu is not mentioned anywhere in Bhagavad Gita. It tells us, it elevates us. It is used by great thinkers, great scientists, Nelson Mandela, Henry David Thoreau, Albert Einstein, J.R. Oppenheimer. All these people have use Bhagavad Gita on motivational or bodily level, and devotees, such wonderful people like, also, I cannot even start where to start or where to finish. So many devotees have used it for their devotional practices. And it is like जैसे एक रिंग होती है ना, उसको हम बोलते हैं, जैसे डायमंड रिंग है, डायमंड रिंग में डायमंड होता है बीच में, बट चारों तरफ गोल्ड की का स्ट्रैप होता है. So it is like a diamond in the Mahabharata. So Mahabharata has 100,000 verses, but these 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita is like the diamond in the whole epic of Mahabharata. So even though there are more verses in rest of Mahabharata, but the whole Mahabharata was arranged to highlight Bhagavad Gita, to speak Bhagavad Gita, to bring Bhagavad Gita to us. So that's why जो diamond ring होती है, उसमें चाहे gold का amount ज़्यादा होता है, लेकिन फिर भी उसको diamond ring बोलते हैं, because that is most valuable part of that ring. Similarly, महाभारता में भी जो diamond है, वो Bhagavad Gita है. And so we can, really get over the obstacles of this world. We can connect to the God. We can reawaken our dormant God consciousness within us. We can establish a relationship with the Lord through Bhagavad Gita. We can see the reciprocation of Lord in our daily lives. We can get above the small struggles of life, small disagreements and small battles of this life. We can get above those, and they will seem insignificant. So you can tune into higher reality, the divine reality, through Bhagavad Gita. So this is the importance of Bhagavad Gita, and I hope and pray to Shri Shri Radha Gopi Chan Vallabh, then may we all read Bhagavad Gita, may we all apply, may we get their lordships and his devotees' mercy on us, that we can understand it completely as he expected us to understand, and live each day of our life through the lens of Bhagavad Gita, through the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. If you all agree with this prayer in whole or in part, please say Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Everybody, please chant loudly one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hari Bol.